going for coffee? You going for coffee? So no one's going for coffee. Who's going for coffee?
All right, welcome to the first episode of Who's Going for Coffee. Here we are at the great, infamous back room.
The back room.
The back room at the Local 1 Elevator Constructors Union Hall here in Long Island City, Queens. I am your co-host, Richie Loeb, and here with me today,
Phil Ducatelli.
You know, Phil, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. I'll bet you the better part of a year, right? We've been throwing a lot of ideas back and forth. And why don't you tell our listeners what Who's Going for Coffee is all about?
So, again, we always had this vision, right, of bringing camaraderie and unity amongst the trades. You know, it's something that's been kind of like dying, right? And we seem like there's always that disconnect, right, amongst the trades and the building trades. And this is a way for us to let's start bringing us together. You know, this needs to be built for the future, right? Communication, things that we need to express for our members here in Local 1 IUEC, but for all trades, right? We want to have the plumbers involved, the iron workers involved, the steam fitters involved. This has to be for everybody, and that's how actually we came up with the whole Who's Going for Coffee.
Who came up with that?
So that was just it, right? Not that I want to sit here and say I want to take credit for something like that.
You can, because you did.
But it's a saying that everybody can relate to, right? We're on the job site, right? And you're sitting there and you're working and you realize, oh, it's almost 9 o'clock. And what's the one saying that everybody says? All right, who's going for coffee?
It's symbolic to a construction job.
100%.
Yeah.
And they're not even in construction, right? In any type of job, right? Who's going for coffee? Go get that apprentice and get an order together, kid, because you're going for coffee.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's a perfect name. We bring that name up and tell people, and they're like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
it fits.
perfect. And it fits.
It does.
It really does fit.
It fits everything that we are, you know, as a tradesman. You know, I'm so stoked over this. I think that what we're gonna do here moving forward, and bringing in, you know, special guests. I can't wait. I plan on bringing in some real prominent people, you know, that are gonna be influential, you know, to what we are, you know, and what we can do as a tradesman.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, prominent people, yes. We've already have an idea of a lot of people that we're going to bring in here, but we're also going to bring in, you know, the rank and file member too, right?
Oh,
we're just not going to limit this to, you know, executive board members or prominent people. Yeah, we're going to bring those people in, but this is for our membership, and and like you said, not only for the elevator constructors here in New York, around the country, but you know, all the trades. You know, we seem to be in this almost like this. We're all in competition with each other, where we should not be. We should be in collaboration with each other and not competition. So, you know, if the plumbers or the iron workers are having a recruitment, come on and promote your recruitment, right?
Listen, you know, that you just brought up something really good there. Saying that we're in competition with one another. There's one competition, especially here in New York, and again, it's around the rest of the country, but it's the non-union sector.
Right.
That non-union sector is our competition. Why are we eating our own when it comes to another trade? Why isn't that collaboration there? Why aren't we trying to work together better, right? So when the builder is putting up a building union and we're all there on the job because of our skill set over the non-union, why are we fighting each other? Let's do this together.
Yeah,
Let's make this better.
We got to.
You know? And I think this is, again, this podcast is going to be that step in the right direction. It's about us helping one another. Let's put forth the effort to be better than we were yesterday, and we can battle the non-union sector.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
I agree. Listen, I've heard too many times from prominent people, not only here in this local and, you know, other locals from other trades, saying that the building trades are dead.
Yeah.
Right. And listen, look at it. You look back, I just looked the other day, you look back to the 70s where, yeah, close to 40% of the jobs are union jobs, you know, in the strong labor markets, the big cities. And you look over time, it's under 10%, and it's been dwindling ever since. And if we're just going to sit back and watch this thing dwindle and not do anything and do the same thing over and over, which is, you know, get up, go to work, do the best you can, and go home, it's not going to cut it. It's going to continue to dwindle. We have to be two things. We got to be proactive and we got to be creative.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's, you know, this ain't going to solve all the world's problems, but
No.
this is going to be a part. I encourage other unions and other, you know, our own locals around the country to do the same thing. And again, don't look at it as a competition, but a collaboration. Right? To where we're going to support you, you're going to support us, and together. But for me, this show is really going to serve two purposes. A, to promote the trades, bring everybody together. But the other part of it is promoting awareness to those that are not in the trades, right? People that just don't understand that the building trades is a phenomenal place to hang your hat, raise a family, own a home, right? To be able to do all those great things that might have been a little easier years ago when one person could work. And, you know, I had a, you know, one income household. Yeah, we had a small house, but my father did it. And it's almost impossible today, right? So to be able to promote this to those that are not in the trades. And listen, we've gone on these outreach events so many times, and you go out there and there's hundreds of people walking around, and they walk right past us. Like they just don't understand it, right? They walk past, and you say, "What are you doing? Why are you walking past me?" They just don't get it. They just don't understand. Right. And they just need to be educated. So the last event I went to, I really, you know, dug deep down and grabbed a few people and talked, and it's like, they're like, wow, holy, I didn't even realize that the money you guys can make. Didn't even realize the retirement benefits that you guys get. You know, we still sitting here with a pension plan. That stuff, that doesn't exist anywhere. It's going away. And we have it. You know, we have, you know, you look at anybody, any industry out there, our healthcare usually exceeds everybody's, right? And it's for a reason. It's because what we want, it's what we negotiate, it's what we want. We're just not going to get a job somewhere and we got to deal with, you know, whatever healthcare is going to be jammed down our throat. This is what we want.
And these aren't jobs, right? These are careers.
These are careers.
Right? These are careers that you can, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, essentially, right? And you find, so let's just use me for as an example. I wasn't ever planning on becoming an elevator guy, you know, right? Who wakes up and saying, you know,
that's a maniac.
Right, exactly. It doesn't make sense, you know, like the iron worker. Ooh, that sick bastard's got to, you know, start climbing steel all day long, right? But we fall into these trades sometimes, right? And we realize that by us putting in a little bit of effort and you start seeing results, gives you that drive to go even further. You know, I fell into this trade. Literally, you know what I mean? I didn't have nobody in this business. My father was a teamster, you know, and he was a truck driver, you know, and I was never really in want of anything growing up, and he was able to provide. You know, that's the beauty of it. Now there he is today, present time, 75 years old, still collecting his pension, still doing what he wants to do, you know what I mean? And all because he was part of a union, you know, and that's the benefit here. Right, everybody looks down at the unions and like, oh, you guys are nothing but a bunch of animals. You're overpaid. You don't work enough, and you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. And then that mentality has changed so much.
It has.
You know, we put in the work. You know, we
listen.
Really
that might have been a well-earned stigma years ago.
Maybe, yeah.
Right, but I'll tell you what. If we operated like that today, then we'd be gone tomorrow. We can't survive, you know, with that mentality that we're just gonna, you know, listen, we promote on the union side, on the labor leader side. Hey, give 8 to 8. We want our employers making a lot of money, because if they are making money, then our guys are making money, right? But we're in this together. So listen, you said it perfect before with this. It's promoting this trade. It's promoting all the trades. And bringing awareness to those that, you know, don't even realize we exist. And I truly believe that we can get this thing to turn around and
I
start
think so.
heading, and start heading in the right direction. Will it ever get back to what it was? Hell, I don't know. Probably not. But
Probably not. Times are different, right?
enough of watching it go down.
Correct.
Enough. Listen, we all have, younger people that are in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
I have, young families, and I have a vested interest that this thing is going to continue.
Yeah.
It has to continue.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if I can lay my head on a pillow if I'm not going to, do something that's going to help it continue in some crazy way.
And
Some people might look at this like, what are you guys doing? But I'll tell you what, it's something that we're going to do that's proactive.
Yep.
It's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
It's not what, used to be.
Yeah.
And listen, I hope some other locals, follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody that's listening right now, that's exactly how this started.
Yeah.
We started off having a little side conversation of like, what can we do? How can we make things better, right? And it's always thinking outside the box. It's about always trying to make something better than it was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Like I said before. And when you turned around and you said, you know what, a podcast might be the way to go. I looked at you and said, yeah, really? A podcast? All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And something that started off as a conversation from the hip, right? And it started to evolve to the next day and to the next day. And the next thing you know, it was absorbing a lot of our conversation, and the next thing you know, you realize, wow, we can really do this. Why not? Let's give it a whirl. And here we are. I would be remiss if I did not at least acknowledge, we're not here by ourselves. So through the support from our trade, the local and Elevator Constructors, supporting us, our executive board supporting us, giving us this space. Yeah.
And, SWAT Chapel attorneys that have been there with us too, that have provided us with the support to move forward. And, I think this thing's going to take off.
I think so too.
And I hope, like I said, other trades follow suit. But we're excited. Why don't you? We'll take the last couple of minutes. Some of the topics, that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we're not just going to sit here and talk about ourselves. Nobody's going to listen. I wouldn't even listen.
I wouldn't even bother either.
Right?
I'm like, all right, I'm done.
But what are some of the things?
Yeah, so I want to get our safety directors in here. I want to talk about drug and alcohol. I want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about what happens, God forbid, you get hurt on the job.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know.
No, they don't know.
They really don't know. A lot of people go to their own doctor, instead of filling out a compensation report.
Yep.
We really, really want to give as much information on this podcast moving forward. And listen, we're gonna have some really good times. We're gonna have some real funny episodes.
Yes, we
I'm
are.
sure.
Yes,
you know
we
what I
are.
mean? We're gonna have some
we
real
got some
characters.
We do.
Absolutely. And I think that with, again, promoting what we know, right, to maybe the younger generation coming up, and talking about organizing, right, and how they got in. There's so much we have to offer, right? And again, not just us. It's not just us, Local One, right? Everybody has these stories.
They all do.
Every single trade. And that's the beauty of this. That's where this is going to really start to escalate.
Yeah.
And we're going to have every trade involved.
Yep.
God willing. You know what I mean? That's the game plan, is to have every trade involved and make this that much better.
Yep. I agree.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, pal.
All right, my man.
Listen, episode 1.
Episode 1.
One
Here
of
it
many.
is. Yes, it is.
All right, bro.
Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Who's Going for Coffee?
Who's going for coffee?